To face some tough questions about his agency's handling of Toyota's sudden acceleration problems. In prepared testimony already released, Administrator David Strickland says his agency may require brake override systems on all cars to fix the problem of uncontrollable acceleration. California Congressman Issa is the top Republican on the House Oversight and Government Reform Committee. It is also investigating both the NHTSA and Toyota's response to this problem. Thank you so much, Congressman, for joining us.
Thank you. Now you know why they call it NHTSA, because it's just those letters are hard to read off.
Right. I mean, if you could pass the test just putting out the acronym there. But let me ask you seriously, what we're seeing here just this week, drivers saying that their cars have suddenly accelerated. You have worries, people saying they will never get behind the wheel of a Toyota again. What is at the heart of this? Is it the agency who you believe dropped the ball most grievously here, or the automaker?
Well, as we like to say here in Washington, yes. The fact is that public confidence in NHTSA for having allowed this to go on so long, and in Toyota for, quite candidly, reacting in different ways in different countries to what were basically the same problems. Both of them are at the heart of it. What we see with Toyota is their CEO coming before the Congress and saying, we made a mistake, we're going to use every means possible to change how we do business, and we're going to fix the past, and we're not going to let it happen in the future. That remains to be seen. Now we turn to NHTSA, and we see an agency that hasn't requested any significant additional money in years and who's doing business as usual, which isn't good enough, and we're hoping to see real reform there, too.
But we mentioned that David Strickland, the head of the agency, is going to testify, and he's expected to say they did not receive a remarkable number of complaints from Toyota drivers. So if that is the case, if they get a few complaints here and there, when you think of the volume of vehicles being sold, how is it that the agency made a wrong move and didn't act aggressively when there was not an onslaught, at least according to Strickland, of complaints out there?
Well, David's only been on board for 50-some days.
But
and
I
I'm
hope he did some research before making that statement.
Well, his boss, Secretary LaHood, when he testified before us, told us that he didn't want David there because he hadn't been on board long enough. And he laid out pretty clearly some of the mistakes that were made. And one of them that we agree on is that at a time in which in Japan they were actually reducing the size of the pedal due to carpet entrapment, the NHTSA fix was simply to have the carpets sort of informally withdrawn. Now, if you don't have enough clearance so that something as simple as carpet could actually entrap the pedal, it's very clear you don't have enough clearance. Right. And so today they're doing in the United States what they did in Japan 2 years earlier, and they're carving down or replacing these pedals with pedals that have more clearance. That's a mechanical mistake that NHTSA should have never allowed a limited fix that wasn't good enough to be used instead of a broad fix that really got to the heart of the problem.
And let me ask you quickly about this brake override system. Do you think that is a good idea? And also the fact that Toyota does not want to turn over some of the black box information in these investigations.
Well, certainly there are in-camera ways, meaning not available to the public, that proprietary information can be reviewed. And I look forward to working with all the auto manufacturers on coming up with a system that protects their intellectual property but gets to the bottom of safety. To the question of brake override, or if you will, the whole question of fail-safe electronics that really can give somebody a simple, predictable, and across-the-board, no matter which car you have, way of knowing that you're going to be safe when you step on the brake. That system has to be implemented. The Society of Automotive Engineers and other experts have to be brought in. If we're going to get to an agreed standard that all the auto manufacturers, because they're all doing drive-by-wire today to some extent, we have to get to that. NHTSA has to be part of it. Department of Transportation has to take the lead, and Secretary LaHood has said he will look into it and that he intends to convene that kind of a summit.
All right, Congressman Issa, it's a great pleasure having you on. Thank you so much. Hope to see you soon. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much.
New fallout today following Monday's resignation of New York Democrat Eric Massa, who was accused of sexually harassing male staffers. Well, House Minority Leader John Boehner introduced a resolution just a short time ago to have the House Ethics Panel reopen the investigation. The resolution passed overwhelmingly, but while the vote sends the matter to the Ethics Committee, it does not require the committee to act which the GOP aide charges is the Democrats' way of trying to sweep this one under the rug. Meanwhile, there are new revelations that the office of House Speaker Nancy Pelosi knew about complaints regarding Massa months ago. NBC's Kelly O'Donnell is on Capitol Hill 4. So, Kelly, make the distinction